I always find it funny when someone says they don't have mental health. Like, what? It's just like you saying you don't have physical health. And why would I say this? Well, it's because mental health is the health of your mind and physical health is the health of your body. And obviously, we all have bodies and minds. So just as you have physical health, you also have mental health. And in today's episode, we're going to be diving deep into what mental health is, what it isn't, and how to take care of your mental health. And I also have a very important section at the end of today's episode, so you should absolutely listen to the end. Welcome to Healthy Minds Talk, a podcast created to help you grow, bring awareness to mental health, and also remind you that it's not all in your head. There's hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't. I'm Praise Victor, and I remain your host on this show. According to the World Health Organization, mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is also able to make a contribution to his or her community. Now, I just feel like that's all big grammar, so I'm just going to break it down into what I understand mental health to be, and I'll just simply say that mental health is the state of your mind. And your mind has three basic functions, which are thinking, feeling, and wanting. And this is what makes your mental health so important, because as humans, we live in our minds. We define situations, problems, and relationships with our minds. It is through our minds we decide how to feel about our daily experiences in life. And it's also okay to say that it's our minds that help us determine whether things are worth going for or not. Therefore, your mental health is important, because if you have a poor state of mind, you will have a distorted view of reality. So, how do you know if you have good mental health? The first thing I want you to know is that having good mental health is not the absence of mental illness. It simply means that you're in a good state of mind. Now, this doesn't imply that you never feel sad or you never feel down, but it just means that you're aware enough to know that your thoughts are not reality and that you can always change your perception on things. So, how are you really sure you have good mental health? I'll say the first sign is you live in the moment, you can healthily cope with unexpected changes and challenges in your life, you have a good sense of self-esteem, you express gratitude, you're optimistic, you feel good about yourself, you set goals and are accountable to them, you feel and express your emotions without guilt or shame, you have healthy relationships, and the last sign that I would say is you positively contribute to your society. There are a lot of good signs there are a lot of other good signs of mental health, but I've just decided to list these few. Good mental health basically involves you having a healthy sense of self, which means you don't identify yourself with whatever you go through. You have a healthy perspective on life, which might involve expressing gratitude for the good and the bad in life, and also being emotionally aware and having healthy coping skills. Now, if there's good mental health, there's also going to be poor mental health, right? And poor mental health is mostly associated with unhealthy lifestyle, stressful work conditions, and toxic environments. So there are also signs that your mental health is going bad, or your mental health is deteriorating. Mental health is different for everyone. We all have different experiences in life. So basically, the signs that would show that my mental health is getting bad is not the same signs that are possibly going to show when your mental health is going bad. But then there are a few common signs that your mental health is going bad. And the first one is your perspective of self changes. You maybe suddenly start to feel worthless or feel like a failure in life. You engage in negative self-talk. You have changes in sleep pattern. You probably begin to oversleep, which is a sign of depression or you sleep less, which is a sign of anxiety, and both of them are actually mental illnesses. You begin to have emotional outbursts, which may show up as sudden mood changes that last longer than a few weeks. If you normally feel happy or lively, or you're like the life of the room, the energy you bring into the room is just so amazing, but suddenly you just feel like you've lost your spark, or you just feel like you don't have the energy to live your daily life the way you used to, then that's a very bold, important sign that your mental health needs support. Now, another sign that your mental health is going bad is withdrawal. Now, when I say withdrawal, I mean withdrawing from things, activities, or hobbies you usually enjoy. And withdrawal can also show up as you self-isolating and distancing yourself from your family and friends. Another common sign is becoming numb. I would say it's a common sign because most of the people, apart from myself, most of the people that have opened up to me about their mental health struggles, they say that they hardly feel anything again, and they get worried that they become numb. So if you start to feel like nothing phases you, like you are disinterested in everything, then that is a sign that your mental health is going bad. Another sign is feeling tired all the time and having persistent feelings of sadness. There's this myth that depression is just sadness, but depression is not sadness. Now, I'm not talking about depression today, but I just want to say this sentence, that depression is a mental illness that can actually make someone die by suicide, but sadness is just a feeling, an emotion that you feel for a particular period of time. Now, depression lasts longer. People have depression for years, but then sadness is just an emotion that passes by. Probably if you find some other thing to be happy about again, your feelings of sadness can go. But if you start having persistent feelings of sadness, then your mental health is also going bad. And the last sign I will talk about of you knowing whether your mental health is deteriorating or you're just having poor mental health are physical symptoms like headaches, stomach pain, appetite changes, panic attacks, and so many others. Now, I mentioned physical symptoms because your physical health is connected to your mental health and vice versa. Your mental health is also connected to your physical health. It's a long, I don't really know how to break it down, but your mind and your body are connected. So if you want to be healthy and just have a healthy life, you wouldn't just take care of your physical health and neglect your mental health. As you feed your physical body, as you take care of your physical body, you should also feed your mind with positive things and take care of your mind. Declutter your mind, take out the toxic things, the thoughts, the friendships, relationships, and all of that. Just declutter your mind and take care of your mental health, and which is what I'm going to next, how to take care of your mental health. Now, taking care of your mental health is not only for when you feel like your mental health is going bad. Mental health care should always, emphasis on always, be prioritized. You don't just start eating healthy food or maintaining personal hygiene when you start to feel sick. So why do you have to wait till your mental health gets poor before you start to prioritize it? To consciously and intentionally take care of your mental health, I'll advise talking about your feelings, journaling, valuing yourself, surrounding yourself with good people, eat well, get enough sleep, limit media and technology use, take walks and spend time outside, read books, listen to podcasts, do activities that you enjoy, and pray. Now, I know it looks like I just ran through all of this. I'm going to break them down one by one, okay? Now, the first thing I said was talking about your feelings, right? Expressing how you really feel is not a sign of weakness. Some people apologize for saying how they feel, and I'm just like, you don't have to apologize. There's no need for that. You are being real. You don't have to be ashamed for saying how you feel. Just because certain people don't relate to what you're going through doesn't mean that it's not valid. Just being heard can make you feel supported and less lonely. And if you open up, it can also encourage other people to do the same. So you should consider talking about your feelings and just expressing them to maybe someone close to you or your family member, your loved one, friends or family member. Just try speaking up today and talking about your feelings. I think it was last week, my best friend, one of my best friends, she opened up about something that she has been really struggling with. And it's crazy how I'm a best friend and I never even knew about it till she actually posted it on her status. And I found out, and I just went to her DM and just showed her the love and support that I could. Because sometimes you can call yourself best friends with certain people and you just feel like you have no idea about what's going on in their heads. I mean, everybody has something that is probably bugging them upstairs, or just that they're worried about or they're struggling with. So I just feel like if you, like, with any opportunity you get, just show kindness and love to everybody, because everybody's got something that they're really struggling with. So you just be kind, and if you can, talk about what you're going through. I really, really, really love the courage that she had rather, to come outside and express herself and how she was really feeling. And the funny thing is, you spend a lot of time being scared about talking about how you really feel, and then you come out and you speak up and you are like, I'm struggling with this, and then you realize that you're not the only person. Other people too feel that way, and they understand you, and you can just connect with them and talk about it. So I would encourage you to talk about your feelings today. Now, the second thing I said was journaling. I've talked about journaling a lot on this podcast, and I said that writing down your feelings and thoughts are the most effective way to relieve your mind and also help yourself feel better. You can journal on your notes app in your phone or on paper in your physical journal, but I'll be open and I'll tell you guys that I don't write. I prefer to use a voice diary to record my thoughts. It sounds weird, but it's like a journal, but a voice journal. I like talking a lot about my feelings. I mean, I spent a lot of time, my childhood, I spent a lot of time being alone. So I was used to talking out loud about how I really feel with no one listening. So I guess that's just a habit I developed, and now I express my feelings to myself in my voice diary. I shared one of the recordings I did on my voice diary with one of my closest friends, and he was like, nobody he was like, nobody should hear my thoughts, because I don't know, I don't think anybody wants to hear my thoughts still. Anyways, on to the next one. The next one you should do to improve your mental health is value yourself. You can't control your emotions, but you can control your responses. Instead of being harsh on yourself for experiencing emotions, consider validating your own emotions and focusing on how you can intentionally respond. Next thing I said was surround yourself with good people. You should build healthy relationships. In last week's episode, I talked about loneliness, and I said that we are all social beings and we thrive on connection. So you should be in relationships where you have similar values, similar goals, and needs. And the most important thing when you're like building a relationship is your authenticity. You should connect with people you can be authentic with and also enjoy being around. Like, you can be yourself around them. There is no fear of judgment. You don't have to isolate yourself. You are free to be you. Those are the kind of relationships that you should build. And so I'll tell you to make a conscious effort today and socialize. And when I mean socialize, it's like whatever that means to you. It can be taking a group video call with your friends, or just calling your friend, or having a game together, just you and your few friends, your close friends. For me, I'll be open and I'll say that I don't have much friends, but the friends that I have, I love them and I cherish every time I spend with them, because they just bring the energy and I'm just there, but also enjoy their company. So definitely you should socialize with your friends or your loved ones. And if you feel like you don't have any friend, well, I'm always here for you. If you know me personally, you can just slide in my DM and we can become friends. The next thing I want you to do is eat well. Now, I think I said before that your mental health is also affected when you don't take care of your physical health. Therefore, you should eat well. Eating well would also help you manage stress and anxiety levels and improve your sleep and help you feel better about yourself in general. So you should eat a well-balanced, nutritional diet that you can afford. I put that there because it's very important. I don't want you to start pressuring yourself because you feel like you have to eat healthy and you just start like going above your budget or something you can actually afford. So you should just eat a well-balanced nutritional diet that you can afford. Next thing I said was get enough sleep. If you want a happy and healthy life, which I think everybody does, you need to sleep well. Sleeping for less than 7 hours per night is linked to an increased risk of heart disease and high blood pressure, which is quite weird, right? You'd think that all those kind of illnesses, all those kind of physical illnesses are not connected to your avoidance of sleep, but they actually are. The effect lack of food has on your body and your mind is similar to the effect lack of enough sleep has. So it's important that you know that the lack of enough sleep and good nutritional food affects your physical and mental health. Now, I think the seventh thing I said was limit media and technology use. Now, you might not think that you're addicted to social media. When you tell some people that they're addicted to social media, they feel attacked. So I wouldn't tell you that you're addicted to social media. I'm not trying to attack you. Everybody is on social media. Everybody uses social media apps. But have you ever wondered how much time you actually spend on those apps? Now, let's just go on this journey with me and calculate. There are 24 hours in a day, right? And I said you should sleep for 8 hours max. So that's 8 hours taken out of your 24 hours. And how many hours are left? 16 hours. Out of the 16 hours, maybe you go to work and do all of that. Just within that time frame of 16 hours in a day, how much of those 16 hours daily do you spend on the gram or Twitter or even WhatsApp, just scrolling through stories and looking at the highlights of other people's lives? How much time do you spend doing that? You might say that you do businesses on the social media apps. That's actually very valid. But then I'm not asking you to stop using social media. I don't know if that's possible for you, but I'm just saying that you should limit the time you spend on social media. I have so many of my friends complain on their status that they waste so much money on data. And I'm like, how does your data finish so fast? You go on TikTok, you spend so many hours there, you spend so much hours there. You go on Instagram, watch reels, and just waste your time. Social media is addictive, and that's just the harsh truth. You can say it makes you feel good, makes you feel happy watching funny videos, that's fine. But then just limit the time you spend there. Schedule your day and know how much time you have for social media. Now, I want everyone listening to this to challenge themselves to take a day each week off social media. Like, you select a day in a week that you wouldn't go on social media at all. You can call it a social media fast, I don't know, but just one day. I'm definitely going to do this challenge with you. So just one day out of every week, do not go on social media. Do not go on Instagram. Do not go on TikTok. Do not go on WhatsApp. I feel like WhatsApp is the most used app, and TikTok too. Do not even go on Twitter or Facebook. I keep forgetting Facebook. Do not go on Facebook. All the social media apps you're on, I don't know if I can list them all, but just for a day out of your 7 days in a week, do not go there. You can, I know your hands can be so itchy, your fingers are going to be itchy to just press that app and just see what's going on, but don't do it. I'm going to be on this challenge with you, and I'm actually going to be monitoring you on this podcast episodes, and I want you guys to be honest. So just do this challenge with me, one day each week off social media. I believe in us. We can actually do this. It's not hard. Social media is not oxygen, okay? You can do without it. So I'm just going to go on to the next point on how to take care of your mental health, which is taking walks and spending time outside. Scientists say that getting exposure to sunlight helps to increase your serotonin levels. Now, I know, if you didn't study science like me, you don't know what serotonin is. But I would just say that serotonin can be termed as the happiness hormone, which helps to boost your mood. It's like a mood booster in your brain. So if you want to kickstart or increase the production of this hormone that makes you happy, you should spend time outside and soak up some sunlight. I love spending time outside. Not all the time though, because I live in a country where the sun is very unfriendly to the skin and the brain and everything pertaining to your body. So I try as much as possible not to spend too much time outside, but I make sure that every day I go outside and just get some sunlight. And you should also consider performing exercises, as they help to lower stress and anxiety levels. The second to the last thing I said was read books, listen to podcasts like this one, and do activities that you enjoy. It's very important that you spend time doing activities you enjoy, because it helps to improve your emotional well-being. Now, I think the last thing, it's not the last one. Second to the last thing I said was pray. I know, it looks weird, me adding prayer to the list of things that you can use to take care of your mental health. Like what? But I'm a spiritual person, and I believe that praying helps your mental health, because praying makes me feel 10 times better than I was or than I felt before I started. Now, I'm not talking about prayer as like a religious activity, like you just have to do it. No, I'm talking about prayer as a means of communicating with the only person, which is God, obviously, that truly sees and understands what you're going through and is also right there with you in the midst of it all. So if you claim to be a spiritual person, you should definitely add prayer to the list of your mental health care. And the last thing I said was seek professional help whenever you feel like your mental health is deteriorating. And if you cannot afford professional help, you know that I always advocate for Psychobabble. You should try contacting Psychobabble on Instagram for free counseling services. I would put the link to their profile in the description, so you should totally and absolutely check them out. Now, I think I said that there was going to be a special section at the ending of the episode, and this is it. We've gotten to the end of the first half. We've gotten to the end of the first half of today's episode, and now we are moving on to the second half. And this second half is talking about ending mental health stigma and ways to promote mental health. Now, before I started my blog, my Instagram page, or even this podcast, which are all like part of advocating mental health, I was very scared. I was scared that I wasn't going to get enough support because I live in a third world country where the word mental health or mental illness is just another excuse to be lazy or just be a youth and, go with the trend. And I was just scared that I wasn't going to get enough support, that people would not understand me, that they would just see me as a liar. I mean, I remember before I started this podcast, I remember going to my mentor and I was just like, sir, I'm not really sure I want to do this, because what would it look like a spiritual person like me talking about mental health and mental illnesses and all of that? Because there's this myth that Christians don't have mental health, mental illness rather. There's just this myth that goes around that if you know that you are a faith believing in God Christian, you cannot have mental illness. Now, I'm not saying that you should have mental illness as a Christian, but then there's just this myth, and I was just so scared that people were going to see me as a fake Christian because I was talking about mental illness. But anyways, that's by the way. I am going to be starting the movement on this podcast on how to end the stigma. I'm not starting the movement, by the way. The movement has already started years before I was born. But I just want to say that I was one of those people that were scared to speak up because of the prejudice and discrimination associated with mental health. And it's the discrimination and misunderstanding of mental health that make people that are struggling with it just feel hopeless and not get the help that they truly need. According to the World Health Organization, I love statistics. I'm like starting to like it. Anyways, according to the WHO, around 450 million people are currently struggling with mental illness, making it the leading cause of disability worldwide. And statistics also say that 40% of people with anxiety and depression do not seek medical help due to the stigma associated with those illnesses. Now, many people don't actually see mental illness as something you can die from. I mean, how you say that somebody's going to die because they have depression, but they can. People die because of depression. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in youth aged 15 to 24. So you should actually prioritize mental health and discussions on mental health. Mental health stigma affects the well-being of those experiencing mental illnesses, and it also stops them from getting the help they need and invalidates their experience. So how can you reduce mental health stigma and promote mental health? The first thing you should do is educate yourself. Check in with your false belief and self-stigma. What have you repeatedly heard about mental health or mental illness, or even seen in movies that has made you have negative or discriminatory attitude towards those with mental health challenges? I want you to examine those thoughts and those beliefs that you've built up in your mind and accepted to be true, and just educate yourself today. Go on Google, look for the right sources, get yourself educated. There are books, there's Google, just Google it and don't jump to conclusions. Mental health is also health. I often say that I actually do wish that I learned mental health education in school instead of taking subjects like maths, basic technology that aren't even important to my development as a human today. I mean, if only schools can actually include information about topics like how to set boundaries, empathy, emotional support, self-care, healthy coping mechanisms, and so many others like that in their curriculum, mental health stigma would be replaced with support. And if you're listening to this and you own a school, I'll advise adding mental health education to your curriculum. You can contact Dr. Bisleen Attli. She's a naturopathic doctor on Instagram, and she hosts mental health empowerment workshops. I'll drop her link in the description so you can contact her if you're ready to add mental health education to your school curriculum, which you should. Now, integrate mental health education and information wherever health is being discussed, such as schools, workplaces, dinner tables, and so many others. Next thing I want you to do is be mindful of the language you use. Don't misrepresent or negate people's experiences with mental health. Don't identify people by their illnesses. I mean, you should stop saying statements like, she's depressed. You can try saying, she's struggling with depression. Just because she's struggling with depression doesn't mean that all she is and all that she represents is depressing. No, the person is just struggling at that point in time, and they just need help and support, and not they don't need judgment and just abstinence or distance. So you should also not use mental illnesses as adjectives. I feel like people are so they are so fond of this. Anorexia is actually an eating disorder, but then people say that anorexia is just, people use anorexia as an adjective for someone that is skinny, OCD for someone who is neat, and bipolar disorder for someone that changes their mood a lot. That one is very common. And saying stuff like this is just like telling a friend that they have pneumonia just because they coughed. So casually misinterpreting mental health challenges just adds to the stigma, and words are very powerful and they are capable of hurting the people around us. So you should be mindful of the language that you use. Now, you should be mindful of your language, not just around people that you know are struggling with their mental health, but also around everybody else. The people you know that are struggling and the people you don't know are struggling. And the next thing I need you to do is share your mental health experience. I've said this repeatedly, that the reason I started a blog in 2019 was to talk about my mental health struggles, and it really helped me. We all have mental health, therefore we all have different experiences with difficult feelings and emotions. So let's normalize talking about these hard experiences and the importance of also assessing professional support if struggles still persist. The last thing I want you to do is be compassionate. Treat people that open up about their mental health struggles with empathy. When friends open up to you, you can show your support to them by saying stuff like, thank you for opening up to me, Is there anything I can do to help? I can't imagine what you're going through. I love you and I'm always here for you. Your response to someone else's struggles should not just be demeaning. You shouldn't make them feel like they are weak for feeling that way. You shouldn't make it seem like they are less of a human because they cannot deal with it. They are struggling. They need support. They need love. They need to be loved. They need to be shown support. And you should absolutely do that. Words are powerful and they matter. If you have the power to make someone happy, you should do it. The world needs more of that. The world needs more of happiness, more of love. So if you have the power to just make someone happy, do acts of kindness, call them, check up on them, get them gifts. Yes, that's also included. You shouldn't just segregate someone just because they are struggling. That's just not the right way. Don't do that. So I'll end today's episode. Yeah, we've gotten to the end of today's episode, and I'll end today's episode with Dr. Christiana's words. She's a clinical psychologist, and she said that you can be a straight A student and still struggle with depression. You can be a professional athlete and experience panic attacks. You can be a CEO and battle suicidal thoughts. This is just a reminder that high achievements and mental health struggles are not mutually exclusive. So let's normalize children being able to take time off school for mental health days, not having to make up fake excuses to our managers at work when we need mental health days, and also canceling our plans to maybe hang out with friends or family for mental health days. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Let's treat mental health and physical health equally for school absences, for taking time off work, and also let's create a society where mental health days are normalized, protected, and valid. Just because May is Mental Health Awareness Month doesn't mean that you should only take care of your mental health in the month of May. That's not the point of it. So I'm encouraging you to take care of your mental health every day. We've come to the end of today's episode, and I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. If you really enjoyed this episode of mental health, please share it and help Healthy Minds Talk reach even more amazing listeners like you. And definitely be sure to check out our Instagram page at This My Little World and follow me on Twitter at praise_HM. I'll put the links to my page in the description, so be sure to click on that and follow me. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you next Monday.